Good morning, friends. It's so good to have you here for our final morning of Elul. I have so enjoyed getting together with you every morning, being able to reflect on some of the beautiful stories and insights from members of our community and friends of our community. And this morning, I'm really pleased that our Elul reflection is coming from our educator, Randi Sher. But before we get there, let's begin as we do each morning. Let's begin by singing the words of Psalm 27, Achat Sha'alti. Achat Sha'alti me'et Adonai, Ota avakesh. Achat she'alti me'et Adonai, Ota avakesh. Shivti b'beit Adonai, kol yemei chayai, lachazot b'noam Adonai, ulevaker b'heichalo, lachazot b'noam Adonai, ulevaker b'heichalo. One thing I ask of the Eternal, only that do I seek, to live in the house of God all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Eternal, and to frequent God's temple. As I mentioned earlier, Randi Sher is going to be offering our reflection this morning, talking about a moment in her life that proved to be transformational, teaching her about the importance of doing things a little bit out of the box.
When I was in 7th grade, I was chosen to be in a new class for science. And in this class, the teacher talked to us a lot about how a scientist works and how they come up with a hypothesis and experiment and see where they're going. And then he began teaching us about digestion. When it became time for our first exam, we all came in. The question was about the digestive system. We all wrote feverishly in our little blue books and turned them in and went home for the Friday feeling great. I mean, all we did was repeat all the wonderful stuff he had taught us, and we were on top of the world. Well, imagine our surprise when we arrived in class that following Monday and the blue books were passed out and not one of us had passed the test. Not something we were used to at all. And after some hemming and hawing and talking and trying to figure it out, it became abundantly clear that the teacher had given us misinformation to see who was going to do research. And we were floored. There was not another word spoken in the classroom until the bell rang and we went out. And then it was voices just playing against each other, everyone wanting to say, but the main idea was somebody needs to call the principal. This teacher needs to be fired. You don't lie to children. You don't tell them misinformation. That's not going along with learning. It's got to be taken care of. So I called my dad when I got home from school, and I told him, everybody thinks this teacher needs to be fired, and I think you need to call the principal. To which he agreed readily. Yes, I'll give the principal a call. So at dinner later that evening, I was feeling pretty good about this because my dad said he'd call, and he's pretty smart guy, and let's see what happened. So I said, so did you call the principal? He said, yes. And I said, did you explain why the teacher needed to be fired? And is the guy going to be gone? And my father said, no, you must have misunderstood. I called your principal to say that I wanted to commend him. He was going to get a lot of calls and people were going to be really mad, but I wanted him to know that I understood you had just learned the best lesson you'd ever learned in your academic career, and that he deserves to be liked as much and for what he did in allowing this teacher to operate in a kind of a different way. It took me a long, long time to get around this and to understand what really happened. But what I realized is that that science teacher had the most impact on me of any teacher, and that my father inspired me till the day he died, because he always saw a little bit around what other people saw and was able to look at things in a much different way.
Thank you, Randy, so much for your reflection. And I think that it really is so important to be able to look at things outside of the box. Here is this teacher who taught an incredible lesson, a lesson that perhaps needs to be taught today in a lot of different ways, right? Of needing to find our own information and to verify information, not just taking things at face value, but to go deeper. This is a teacher who looked at the world and who taught kids to think perhaps out of the box, doing things a little differently. Well, this High Holy Day season that we are in the midst of is one of doing things outside the box. There is no way around that this year, that is for sure. But it is my hope that in doing that, it actually is opening doors and giving us new opportunities and potential to connect with the holidays in ways that maybe we haven't had an opportunity in the past. That perhaps this particular strange experience of a year will have elements that are so uplifting and meaningful that we carry them with us, not only to next year, but to many, many years in the future. Let us create that opportunity. Let us allow that which is in front of us, even as we grieve for what we want to have that can't happen this year. Let us open ourselves up to the possibilities that this year might be incredibly fulfilling in ways we couldn't have anticipated. I'd like to bring us back to Psalm 27, as we do each morning, reading these words for our final time before Rosh Hashanah this evening. And I invite you to join with me. Of David, Adonai is my light and my victory. From whom shall I feel fright? Adonai is the stronghold of my life. From whom shall I feel terror? When evildoers approach me in battle to feed on my flesh, my pursuers, my adversaries, they have stumbled, they have fallen down. If a camp encamps against me, my heart will not fear. If a war arises against me, in this I would trust. One thing I have sought from Adonai, how I long for it, that I might live in the house of Adonai all the days of my life, that I might look upon the sweetness of Adonai and spend time in the palace, that you might hide me in your sukkah on a chaotic day. Hide me in the hiding places of your tent. Raise me high upon a rock. Now my head rises above my enemies round about, and in your tent I'll offer offerings to the sound of the truah. I shall sing and chant praises to Adonai. Hear, Adonai, my voice. I am crying out. Be gracious to me, answer me. My heart has said to you, seek my face. I am seeking your face, Adonai. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You have been my help. Do not forsake me. Do not abandon me, God of my deliverance. For my father and my mother have abandoned me, yet Adonai gathers me up. Make your path apparent to me. Guide me in the upright road because of those up ahead who lie in wait for me. Do not hand me over to the lust of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, puffing violently. Had I not the faith that I would see the goodness of God in the land of life, wait for Adonai. Fill your waiting with hope in Adonai. Let your heart be strong and of good courage, and wait hopefully for Adonai. This morning, Deborah Robbins in her book focused on the final two words in our psalm. V'chaneni v'aneni. Hear Adonai my voice, I'm crying out. Or actually not the final, a little bit earlier on, but hear Adonai my voice, I am crying out. Be gracious to me, answer me. And she entitles this, A Gracious Answer as Rosh Hashanah approaches. She writes, "At the heart of the psalm, in the shortest of the verses, appears a pair of Hebrew words that differ only by a single consonant. V'choneni, be gracious to me. V'aneni, answer me." Day after day, for 29 days during the month of Elul, I called the divine by name, Adonai, my God. My God, be gracious to me, answer me. A shift occurs at Rosh Hashanah. I hear my voice among others, a community at prayer. The anthem of the season as the ark opens wide, and so too our hearts. Havinu malchenu chonenu va'anenu, our Father, our King, be gracious to us and answer us. The pair of Hebrew words that differs only by a sound appears now with a plural ending. Be gracious to us and answer us. With the psalmist, I petition my God. With the congregation, I petition our God. With these words, I include others in my plea and accept responsibility for those beyond myself. Truth? I don't imagine God as Father or King. Truth? I'm not even sure God hears our prayers. Truth? This prayer moves me when I hear others praying. I give way to you. Me gives way to us. Different sounds become a single community. Another truth? This is a gracious answer. The gentle presence of the holy and the voices that surround me, each one a voice of God. Tonight we'll come together as community, and I hope that even though we can't hear one another's voices, we can sense them, we can feel them, we can see into one another's homes, we can see one another's faces in a way that perhaps we haven't before. And I hope that that can give us the same feeling of connection, the same feeling of being part of something that is so much bigger. Now at Temple Bethel, we have an incredible group of people. Throughout this High Holy Day season, we have had so many unbelievable volunteers who have stepped up delivering bags and creating this community pod, community connections system of bringing people closer together. People who have worked to think through High Holy Days and making them such a meaningful experience this year through our High Holy Day Task Force, through our Reopening Task Force, through really a lot of different things going on in our temple. And I just want to say thank you to every single one of you in advance of Rosh Hashanah. I'm also just incredibly thankful to Carrie and to Shoni in our office. There is so much that they do that people aren't aware of, that's behind the scenes, but they give their heart and their soul to everything, and I am incredibly grateful to you. And this morning, we heard from our educator, Randi Sher, who comes in with fresh ideas and out-of-the-box thinking. And I think that too makes our community so great. But to round that off, we are going to hear the shofar blast from our cantor, Cantor Alan, who I am so blessed to work with every day. We have gone through so much preparing for this High Holy Day season, and I couldn't possibly have a better partner in doing that. So I'd love to share with you his shofar blasts.
Tekiah. Shvarim. Teruah. Tekiah.
Thank you so much, Cantor. And finally, I just want to thank all of you. For the past 29 days, this has been a meaningful experience because you have come. You have taken part in this experiment. You've offered your reflections or you've cheered others on. You've reached out to people when they've said something that's of interest to you, forging new connections, which is part of what this has all been about to begin with. So for everyone who is here in person this morning, for everyone who has been in person throughout the entire month of Elul, for everyone who's watched later in the day or later in the week or who is watching months later, we are so glad that you're able to take part in this as well. But this morning, I just want to say a hello to Don and Riva, Jay and Elliot, Diane and Debbie, Carrie and Susan, Barbara, Andrea, Donnie, Howard, Kevin, Pam, and so many others who I'm sure are here. My phone does not always let me see everyone all at once, so if I'm not including your name, it's just because I don't see it, but we are so, so, so glad that you've been able to be here as part of this program. Finally, for the last time, we are going to sing Misha Barach. For the last time in this Elul reflection program, we will be singing Misha Barach continually as long as there are people who are in need of any kind of healing in this world. This Misha Barach prayer is meant to provide healing of the mind, healing of the body, and healing of the spirit. It's a way to remind us of the importance of just reaching out to one another and uplifting one another. A way for people who are in need of any kind of healing to know that we are praying and thinking and rooting for them. It's a way for all of us to come together and wish and will this world into a more full, complete place that isn't quite as broken. So I invite you to join with me in singing Misha Barach. Misha Barach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov. Misha Barach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Misha Barach Avotenu, Misha Barach Imotenu, hear our prayer. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. I hope everyone has a day full of healing and full of blessing. Right now is the opportunity to get our spaces ready, to organize our homes in a way that will allow us to fully enter this holiday of Rosh Hashanah from the Mikdash Me'at, from the sacred sanctuary that we create within our homes. Take out a beautiful tablecloth. Take out some flowers and candles and other things that can make your home feel like a place of worship, a place that is a little different from the rest of the week. Turn off the little alarms and things that come up on your computer so that you can fully focus on prayer. If we do all of these things, it is my hope that this High Holy Day season is one of immense meaning for each of us on a personal and a communal level. And I, for one, am so excited to be able to enter the season with all of you. Shana Tova.